applying Scrumming the Scrum and happiness metric, as well as today's main event, charting the 2022 roadmap. So our agenda for today is having an opening and announcement section, which will last roughly a few minutes. Then following which, we will start with Scrumming the Scrum playbook increment highlights, which will take roughly 5 minutes. Then happiness metric playbook increment highlights, which will be another 5 minutes. Then we're going to have a short Q&A session for Scrumming the Scrum and happiness metrics combined. Right, then after that, we will pass over to Aloysius, who will be our main host for charting 2022 roadmap. And we will end off with a participant feedback and closing session. Just for everyone here to know, this workshop will be recorded for quality training purposes. Okay, so basically, Scrum Mastery Community, when we first started, was earlier in the year. And in April 2021, we released one of our first pieces of the Scrum playbook, and we started off with roughly 229 members. Following which, we went on to a couple of events, released a couple more increments, such as yesterday's weather interrupt buffer, good housekeeping, and this is where we are today in September 2021 with 431 members, effectively contributing to a roughly 80% growth of our membership. And we also now have a YouTube channel where we can post all our event recordings, post all our critical information, and this is the URL that we see over here. Right, so for this increment, we have a couple of team members, Tiawei, Celine, Aloysius, myself, Jit, Joshua, Celine, Adrian, Jamie, Janice, Kenneth, and Shalom, who have worked much on the two playbooks that we're going to be delivering today. Right, so a little bit more information about myself, a little bit more sharing, I should say, about myself. My name's Austin, I think, as everyone might know. I'm the one that looks like an insurance agent right here. And I'm not a Scrum Master by trade or by practice. I used to be an engineer, now working in social services, but the Scrum Mastery community really appealed to me because it is somewhere where I really get to learn about how Scrum works, how we can also benefit the greater community, right? So I'm actually one of the new members. This is my second increment. So maybe how about I invite Janice for a couple of words. She's joined us for basically this increment so far. Janice, are you there?
Yes. Hi everyone. My name is Janice. So I actually came from as a developer, software developer, for many years, and then it just turned out I started to got interest on the people in the process, and end up being a Scrum Master for nearly 3 years. Then I met Joshua. So Joshua gave me a lot of insights as a Scrum Master, and from there he invited me to join the community, Scrum Mastery. From here, I get to learn, as a starting point, I think I get to learn a lot of new concepts like Scrumming the Scrum, happiness metrics, which really gives me some insights and some ideas to bring it back to my team. So yes, so this is what I have learned so far in a short term in the community. Yeah, thanks everyone.
Yeah, hey Janice, thanks for the great sharing. Right, so let's move on a little bit so we can get on to the main content of the show. So effectively, what we are doing as a Scrum Mastery community is we're looking at what Dr. Jeff Sutherland has said about Scrum patterns. So he believes that this Scrum pattern sequence from 1 to 9 can lift teams off to a good start and help even the best teams be even better. So in our past increments, we've cleared yesterday's weather, we've cleared swarming, interrupt pattern, good housekeeping. And in this increment, we are proud to present with everyone here, Scrumming the Scrum and happiness metric, right? So we also have a feedback form, which is a QR code or a link here for those who actually need to leave a little bit earlier than anticipated. So if you do have any kind of feedback that you would like to give, either beforehand or as and when you need to leave the sharing session, do copy down this link or do take note of it, or you can just scan the QR code directly and it will bring you to a Google form that will help us capture your feedback so that we can improve in the next increments. So now I hand over my time to Jit, who will be starting on Scrumming the Scrum. Jit.
Hi everyone. I would like to welcome you all again on behalf of our team. My name is Jitendra. I'm working as a Scrum Master in MDEC Singapore, and I have worked on this increment as a developer. Can Austin, you play this? Yes. So, as Austin has already given a brief introduction about our team, I'm quickly move to this slide. Scrum doesn't need an introduction in this community, although I will still highlight that it's a framework and not a methodology. Whereas within this framework, scrumming the Scrum is the process of removing impediments in the way the team is running Scrum. Example, continuously improving how continuous improvement is being done. Through performing Scrumming the Scrum, teams actively participate in making the processes better by removing process-related impediments, improving the workflow of increments as and when needed, similar to how a product is created in increments. Key point to note is that Scrumming the Scrum is not to be confused with Scrum of Scrums. Scrum of Scrums is an idea to enable multiple Scrum teams to work on the same product, whereas Scrumming the Scrum is about improving the team processes where the key aspect is the sprint retrospective. So the relation between Kaizen and Scrumming the Scrum is that Kaizen is the Sino-Japanese word for improvement. It refers to the mindset of relentless improvement. This is closely in line with Scrum, where we strive for continuous improvement and impediments removal. Therefore, Kaizen is often used when talking about Scrumming the Scrum. Well, we'll move on to the next slide. Okay, a retrospective is usually a look back on past events. During that, team would identify impediments that are preventing the team from performing better. You can say it's a way of teams introspection and reflection, which helps the team understand itself better. Hence, retrospective is often where the team does the Scrumming the Scrum, identifying what may be done to improve how the team does Scrum. You should not get confused between sprint retrospective and Scrumming the Scrum as well. Sprint retrospective is about finding impediments, whereas the Scrumming the Scrum is about taking the points from the retrospective and acting on it. So the retrospective is typically done at the end of the sprint, while Scrumming the Scrum is typically the first step of the next sprint. So we'll move on to the next slide. Why should teams do Scrumming the Scrum? To answer that, one needs to ask, why should teams remove impediments? Team often chooses the Scrum to improve so that they can achieve faster delivery. They can respond quickly to changes. They continuous flow through value stream, become high performing teams. In order to better achieve these objectives and reap the benefits of using Scrum, the team needs to improve how they use Scrum. So Scrumming the Scrum. As per Pareto principle, named after Italian economist Vilfredo Pareto, 80% of the consequences comes from 20% causes. So we do Scrum, we Scrum the Scrum to reduce these causes by getting better at the Scrum. With this, we'll move on to the next slide. So what challenges and impediments do we face while doing it? Lacking knowledge of tools or experience in applying the suitable techniques. There are many tools and techniques available, like plan, do, check, act, and effort impact analysis. Also, failure to identify the root cause or prioritize the problem to solve. The team may not have enough awareness or information to probably identify the root cause, especially if the Scrum Master is not familiar with coaching and facilitation. The other impediments will be lack of team commitment, lack of trust, differences among team members. So what is differences among team members? One member will think speedy delivery is utmost important concern, while the other might think the quality is. For both of them, the main impediment will be different. And we all are aware of lack of management support and organization structure, how it leads to impediments in doing this. So we'll move on to the next slide. So after these challenges, what do we recommend? Acquire knowledge of tools in root cause analysis. Some examples are A3 problem solving, YY analysis, Ishikawa diagram. Another will be identify common value for the team. As we discussed in in our challenges about differences amongst team members and finding common impediment. It is our recommendation to find the common value to be applied. So how do we do that? Well, by applying happiness metrics. As happiness metric is often applied in mitigating the failure in prioritizing impediment and action plans during scrumming the scrum. With happiness metric defined, the team agrees to a common goal and therefore able to perform prioritization according to this goal. Another recommendations will be start small and commit to a Kaizen item, collaboration among Scrum teams. With that, we'll move on to the next slide. So our intent behind this playbook is that as a community, we want to show people how to use the Scrum pattern. So I will take you through some of our experiences, but due to limited time, I will not be able to share all the experiences, but I will choose one that is personal to me. When I joined a new team, I saw many patterns in the team which needed attention, such as velocity was not stable. Although team was stable, committed items was always more than achieved. There was no minimum viable product, etc. So as a team, we agreed to have a 30 minutes retrospective after every sprint and made constructive action items after each retrospective. Some of the examples are like using planning poker as an estimation technique, having product backlog refinement every week and time boxing it to 1 hour, coming up with sprint goal for every sprint. Working on these tasks improved the efficiency of the team, and the team understood that certain tweaks can make a lot of difference. And that brings us to the end of this presentation. I thank you all for your time and appreciate the opportunity to speak with you all today. I will now hand over to my fellow developer, Shalom.
Yeah, thanks, Jit, for your sharing. It was a great sharing. So for questions that everyone has, right, you can post them in the chat and our team members will pick them up to answer them in the chat as and when they see it. Right, so Shalom, on to you. Happiness metric.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Shalom. I'm a product owner for the government of Singapore at Workforce Singapore, and I'm also an Agile consultant over there. On behalf of my team, I will be presenting on the happiness matrix. So on the next slide, you can see that this is a Scrum pattern that is very abstract and sophisticated. If you look at that graph on the right, you can see that the happiness is dropping. And then after that, followed by the velocity. And a lot of times the happiness matrix is considered as a predictor for the productivity of the team, which is why knowing the happiness of a team is so important. So I shall be giving a preview of the document which we have written, and that covers the challenges, recommendations, and our experiences. And this is a difficult matrix because it's not only difficult to measure, but you have to take into consideration the team's happiness over the individual. So when measuring the happiness, not only do you have to figure out how engaged your team is, you also have to take into consideration other factors like the environment, the mood, the relationships that the team members have with each other. On to the next slide, we talk about challenges and we talk about the difficulties in getting the teams to agree on what makes them happy. So I want you to imagine a house. And when you think about a house, I can assure you that everybody thinks of a house differently, right? Some people think of a house next to the beach, some think of it as a condominium, as an apartment in the city. And it's already so difficult to agree on a common term like the house. So let alone happiness, it's harder to even agree on something like that, which is so abstract. But once you are able to determine the team's definition of happiness, it's not just so simple. You can't reuse it for another team because each team dynamics are very different and it's hard to replicate that. And we also talk about teams who are living in a happy bubble and who are not ready to address their shortcomings. And lastly, we also talk about issues that we could address. There are many issues to address. How do we prioritize them? Which one do we solve them first for the upcoming sprint? Which is what Jit was talking about in Scrumming the Scrum. On the next recommendations, we give recommendations about how to get the team to agree, what makes them happy by creating a very safe circle for them to be transparent and honest about their feelings. And there's also a list of questions you can find in that document, which asks the team questions so that you all have a better chance to come up with the definition of what the happiness is in the happiness matrix. For example, what would make your team feel engaged? What would bring purpose to the team? Those are questions you could ask. And lastly, for prioritizing the issues in batches, instead of addressing all of them at once, we can actually find a way to decide what issues to resolve first. And you would consider impediments with larger impact on that can actually deliver better customer value and have better team engagement. These identified improvements can be prioritized in your upcoming sprint, as shared earlier on in Scrumming the Scrum. And we go on to the last slide, which shares a lot about our experiences. We have a few pages of that. And there's one story that I shared about giving the team an opportunity to pursue their passion so as to re-energize the team and reduce the turnover rates of the entire company. So there are other stories that are about empathy. There are other stories about identifying purposeful matrix that are also in the document. We hope that you'll find this document useful for your application, and we look forward to hear more feedback from you guys. So thank you.
Great, thank you, Shalom, for sharing. So I hope everyone has gotten some level of understanding of Scrumming the Scrum and happiness metrics. So if you guys want to learn more or read more on it, you can visit our playbook betas, which have been linked. Okay, so now we go on to a quick and hopefully dynamic Q&A session. So does anyone have questions actually that haven't been answered yet?
No, there wasn't any questions in the chat. So maybe this time we can open the Q&A to the floor. Anyone has any questions about what we shared just now for our playbooks, both Scrumming the Scrum and happiness metric? Or it doesn't have to be a question. It can be something you would like to discuss. You would like to share your experience. We're open to anything under the sky.
Yeah, I mean, it can even be a comment. Did we do well? Did we do bad? What would you like to see improved? But that will come probably in the Q&A. You know, that will probably come in the participant feedback session at the end. But yeah.
Okay, seems like there are no questions.
No comments. So
if anyone has any questions throughout the session, we can either continuously post it in the chat and we'll answer those, or you can leave it in the feedback form and we'll get in touch with you again if you leave it in the feedback form, so we can continue our discussion from there. If no one has questions now, maybe we can move on to the next section and we can have more time for discussions later.
Yep, sounds like a good plan, Jawed. So on to the next one, Chartering 2022 Roadmap, conversation with our community. Aloysius, would you like to take a screen?
Yeah, Joshua, do you want to share about this?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so let me take over the screen.
Okay, I'll stop sharing first, yeah?
Yeah. Good stuff. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, good. So let me do some calibration further. Okay, present. Okay, welcome. Okay, I guess I'd like to say thank you to all the wonderful gentlemen and ladies who have shared the learning journey as well as what we have written just now. I think you have a glimpse of what the team has been doing for the past few months. And now we are start to look at what's 2022 for ourselves and how can we actually learn things together. So that's why we are calling everybody here. I'm so glad to see some familiar faces, people who are willing to join us and discover what could we learn together in 2022. So subsequently for this segment, we'll be touching on this matter. But at first, let me share some of my thoughts about this community and why we are here. So just to share that when I first started in my Agile journey, I remember I was working with the MOM. That was actually a project that's very huge. One of the key projects in the whole of Singapore that actually works more on the domestic licenses. And that's the time where I stumbled upon this Agile project. And what's that? I was really uncertain when I applied for the job, Agile Project Management. That the manager, that looks very cool to me. So I just take a punch and got the job. So as I was there, right, looking through and observing how the developers and people doing project, and I realized that this agile thing is really very different from what I have exposed with waterfall. And waterfall is very, very different. But I have nobody that can really spar with me. Because I was a project manager, so even the vendors whose ThoughtWorks, they are very good in this space. I didn't really have a very good discussion with that. But so I have to actually explore this matter myself. So after working with MOM for 1 year as a project manager, I decided to move on and become a Scrum Master, but I do not know where to go on. So I just searched around and walk, and then surfed the internet, and actually stumbled upon something called the Scrum study. And that is actually because that is the time where there's a lot of advertisement on that. And I thought that is really the way to go. I got myself certified, get a lot of, I think within 2-3 weeks, right? I become a certified trainer, by paper, of course, with very limited experience. But there on, I still don't really have the good idea how Agile really works. So what I did is that I even moved on to try to conduct workshops and even went to Myanmar, but I was alone. I don't know how to do this, but what I have is passion, motivation, and just walking alone. And I realized that as I reflect back, I realized how if I can get people around me, probably I can run even faster. So that was my journey, and I tried many ways. So I learned. I went to conferences, talks, read self-help books, went for many training courses, equipped myself. But I realized that something is missing. I miss people to spar with me that can really challenge me and walk with me. As what Gandhi has mentioned, knowledge gained through experience is far superior and many times more useful than bookish knowledge. And I actually get this firsthand. And I realized that during the early days of my Agile journey, I was actually observing from far how people has been doing it through talks, and then through all the trainings. But it's not sufficient until I start to step into NCS. That was really my first time. That is the time I know Aloysius. That was also the first time I know Adrian. We were together and we actually spar with one another, challenging one another in terms of the knowledge, and then trying to help one another. And I actually really falls, and then people pick me up. And I realized learning with friends and colleagues is so marvelous because this is through real-time experience, and then with the real feedback loop from them, right, that we continue to reflect on and start to know the gap. When I start interacting with them, I know where am I, how much more I should actually move on in order to improve. That's why I think the learning through involvement experience is very valuable to myself. I'm asking myself, what about the people around us? So I think people could really learn a lot more if we are having true hands-on experience. And recently I realized that Scrum Master, the Skill Future, right, all thanks to the government, has thrown in a lot of funding for the betterment of the Singapore citizen. Train us to be more equipped in the language of Agile as well as digital works. But however, many times a lot of people just stuck at the bookish knowledge. I hope that this Scrum Mastery community can help us to form teams. And that's exactly how we self-organize among ourselves to actually learn through involvement and experiencing all the things that we're supposed to deliver, and participate and contribute, and always get feedback from people around us. And this is really where we are coming from. And actually what we did together, right, we have already run through a series of this pattern language for hyper-productive team. That's from Dr. Jeff Sutherland. Total, there are 9 of them. I think we are finishing it. And we're looking at by 2021, end of 2021, we can finish all so that we can proceed to the next one. And that's why we are here. I'm now trying to appeal to everybody here to be with us. Let's hold hands together and learn together I believe it's just through learning together, through sparring one another, we can become a better Scrum Master or Agile practitioner. Okay, so I'm going to pass the time back to Aloysius.
Okay, thank you, Joshua. Thank you for your beautiful sharing. And yeah, and sharing the mission of our community. So hope you can see my screen. Let me try to project it. Okay. Are you still able to see my screen?
Yes,
Okay, good.
can see.
So,
Yep.
so the theme of our meetup today is basically a conversation with our community. And our mission is to try to come up with topics for the 2022 roadmap. And conversation. So basically, we're going to arrange it like an open space. So basically, what is the conversation you need to have now? What is the burning question you have in your head? So it can be a question, it can be a topic, challenge, or something to explore. So we will actually basically use breakout rooms in Zoom as well as Miro. Okay, so the Miro link should be sent to you by now. So these are the steps we're going to take. So it will be open space inspired. I understand some of you have experienced open space, but it's not exactly open space. We have a little bit of deviation, but basically the essence behind it, the philosophy is the same. So I'm going to share my Miro board now. Okay. Share. So the very first step we're going to do is these are the topics that's already submitted previously in our surveys. So if you are in there, maybe if one of the topics are yours, you can maybe change your color to green. Yeah, so I believe our committee already done some of that. And then if you have any new topics, please feel free to add on right now. Maybe you have a minute or so to do that. Yeah, and if you want to do any grouping of topics, if they are similar, we can also do that at this time. Is there anyone that has new topics? Maybe you can give me a reaction or something. Anyone? Anyone has any new topics you want to share and discuss?
Shall we give about maybe a few minutes, then we can time pause? Do we need to do that?
Yeah, probably just a minute.
Okay, I will set a timer 1 minute.
Yeah, maybe you can have 1 minute. Yeah, looks like somebody has a topic.
Does everyone actually have access to the Miro board? Like, has everyone tried to access it yet?
Anyone has problems with the Miro board? So let me see. Let me try to navigate. So you can go to the frames at the bottom left, and then it will be right on top. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll pause the time for a while until more people got into the board.
Sure. Or you can just put it in the chat and we can put it in for you.
Yeah, we'll start the timer again.
Thank you.
Aloysius, should I extend? Or there are more people? That's fine.
Anyone still writing? I think maybe just, yeah, any last call? Please feel free. I think Gas Trailblazer is still typing. Shalom. Yeah. Okay, if I don't see anyone typing, I guess we can. Okay, so how is it going to work that we have 3 or 4 rows because of the number of people we have. So we have to do a voting. So it's unlike the real open space where we have many people and many rooms. Yeah. So, okay. So shall we go to the next step where we do voting? So if you see the dots over here, we can vote up to 3 topics. So just move the dots to the topic that you are interested in. Yeah. So I think the priority will be, of course, to those whose topics are here.
Aloysius, I can see that some of the items are already grouped together. So do we vote based on the individual topics or based on the general one?
I would say let me take a look. I would prefer that you go to the individual topics within the grouping, because I think some are really very broad. So
So how many votes can we throw in?
3 each.
3. Each person has 3 votes.
Each person has 3 votes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So please choose your top 3 topics. Okay. Is everyone in the Miro board? We have like 19 people, right? And then we have about only 12 here. 12. Do you need us to help you to vote? Okay. Looks like we have our okay, Joshua, maybe need your help to do another 1 minute final voting. Let me see. Okay, graduate organizational refactoring. Looks like Austin topics is quite close to Shalom. What do you all both think? Since both of you are here.
I'm okay to combine.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, then we probably can combine these two.
I mean, mine is technically a subset of Shalom's one.
Okay.
If anything, because it's just one step of an Agile transformation, isn't it?
It's combined, right? Then the votes have to re-vote again.
No, just combine the votes.
Yeah, just combine. And I think the gradual adaptation is similar, so although Rivati is not here. It's a one scenario. So
yeah, I mean,
maybe
so
look out for. Yeah.
In one case, we can just have a look at the big box and see how many dots are in that box.
Actually, it's all related. You can group them together if there is a case for organization effort.
Okay, so we have our top 3 and top 4. So I think the first one will be organization. I think it's a agile transformation. I think basically agile transformation techniques. Okay, so this I would say if there's no objection, we'll group these 3. So these 3 will what we'll do is we will group them, put them into a room. These 3 topics. Okay, so these 3 will be room 1. I'll just put them as room 1 for now. just take note. If you're interested in this topic, you can break out to room 1. Okay, then the next highest vote should be Joshua. Joshua. So this will be room 2. Design online collaborative Agile Journey. Room 2. What's the third? We have a time.
Facilitation technique.
Yeah, so facilitation technique.
But
So I'll put this in.
there is another points also scoring the same. How to coach the team and PO. That
Okay,
already have experience
yes.
in Scrum.
So we break into room 3 and this probably how to coach her.
Okay.
The team and PO that has already in experience. Okay, so 3 and 4. So I already identified the 4 rooms.
I think there is the metrics one also, but Aloysius also 4 points.
Oh,
I saw there's a hidden dot. I'm just bringing it up.
okay, thank you.
Oh,
Okay. How many people do we have? I don't know whether it's
we have 20.
20. Okay.
Minus you, 19. Minus Joshua, 18.
Joshua can attend, but for me, I probably need some help. We can put 5 rooms. We can try and see what's the response like. Okay, so now that we have the rooms, I'll probably need some volunteers to host, preferably the topic starter. So basically, how are we going to host? Not sure if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen here?
Still a Miro board though.
Okay. Okay. So we have one more participant. Still a Miro board. Let me share again. Okay, so you can do whichever way you want. You can present. You can. It's up to you. So basically, when I talk about open space, right, we talk about open space inspired. We are actually basically following the 5 principles and 1 law. So the first one is whoever comes are the right people. So we don't judge or anything. Yeah. So if you want to come and go, it's up to you. And whatever happens is the only thing that could happen. Okay. And wherever it starts is the right time. So we will start shortly after this. Whenever it's over, it's over. So we time box to 30 minutes. So just discuss whatever you want. The host will actually dictate how you're going to. It's going to be sharing our experience, or is it going to be like presentation based on your experience? So we have some boards here below the marketplace where you can actually put your sticky notes and do sharing. Okay, at the last point, wherever happens is the right place. So Zoom, whatever. So it's very open. It's up to your imagination. Yeah. And we have one law, which is the law of personal mobility. If you find yourself where you can't learn or contribute, there's no value, please feel free to move into another room. So later when I open up the breakout rooms, you can just move back to the main room and then go back to the other rooms. Yeah, so we practice a law of personal mobility. Okay, so now we need to sort of decide the host. So for room 1, agile transformation, I will say broadly. Any volunteers to be the host? Austin, Shalom. Are there any volunteers?
I mean, I guess me and Shalom could co-host it.
Yep.
Okay, so Austin and Shalom. Okay, so room 2. Design online collaboration.
Yeah, that's my topic, so I can just take it.
Okay, so you take the host. And room 3. Facilitation techniques. Anyone?
I can take that. Doing here.
Okay, thank you, Suni. And then room 4. how to coach a team of people that has experience in Scrum. Janice, you want to take this? Janice?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Room 5. Okay. Okay, so I can take this. But I think if you need help, just call me. So I think you can, if you need help in the breakout room, just contact me. Or is there anyone that want to take the hosting for me?
They can message the facilitator account.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Just contact me if you need any help assigning rooms. So the breakout rooms are either on the top bar or the bottom bar. Yeah. So if you have problems opening up, sorry for my background. Joining the right room. Please contact the facilitator or any of us. Yeah. So right now we're going to do a breakout for 30 minutes. Okay, so please join the room that you are keen on. Yeah, thank you. Hello, welcome back. Everyone is back, right? Okay, sorry for my background music, background noise. Okay, how do y'all enjoy the session?
It's
Is
good.
it good? Good. Okay, so right now, we probably have like half an hour discussion. Unfortunately, we cannot have a longer session because that's what open space is meant to be. But the next step, what are the next steps? So I think the first step is I think we have some people taking notes of the proceedings of the session, what was being discussed. Yeah, and this will be consolidated and sent to the meetup or via email. If we have your email, yeah. So do leave your email behind if you're interested to continue this. So we are actually inviting you to continue this. We will host 3 more breakout sessions on the same topics. Of course, during these 3 breakout sessions, more people can join. So you can actually, there are a lot of things that could happen. You can join another breakout room. As we continue to refine what's the product backlog for 2022 for Scrum Mastery community. You could also you could also complete like on the 4th of October. You could complete what you want from Scrum Mastery community, what to do. So it can be, I know we have been doing write-ups. It's not just limited to write-ups. We could actually host events. We could host like, I think there was a topic on Agile games. We could just host several Agile games just for the, yeah. So it's really up to what you want. So I could give an example of what could be the end target that we are looking at. So it could be something like why are we doing this topic and the desired outputs. So it could be like some kind of outputs that we want, some acceptance criteria, or what are the things that we want to write up on. For example, this is a write up, and a rough estimation. It's just a very high level on what it takes to deliver this. Yeah, so this is what we hope to achieve, what we're inviting you to continue this journey. So you might not need to join every session, but wherever you are available. Because I think it was an interesting discussion, and we would like to elaborate further, right? So yeah, so get the backlog ready, and then on the 25th of October, we'll present our initial backlog for 2022, and then we wait for 2022, and then we will develop these things that the community wants. Okay, are there any questions on this? And new topics can come up as well. So let's say if you think you're done, we got all the answers, yeah, then we can stop. We don't even need to put in the product backlog. Yeah. Are there any questions on this? So hopefully we invite you, and hopefully that you can join us to continue to refine what we want and what we want the community to achieve for 2022. Thank you.
I have a question. So regarding these events on 4th, 11th, and 18th October, the details will be sent out through emails. We'll be getting emails.
Yes, it will be sent out through emails and meetup.com. I think we will
Okay.
update meetup.com.
And also will be sent, the email means calendar invite also, right?
Calendar invite. Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
Yes, we can do that.
I'm just curious. So when you're saying that putting inside the meetup.com, are you saying we are going to put it as an event? Then so anybody also can come in, whoever
Yes.
interested.
Yeah, it doesn't, I think
Okay,
anybody new,
nice.
feel free to join. It'll be at roughly about 45 minutes to an hour. So the first 15 minutes we have our networking and chit chat, and then we'll break out in half an hour, and then we'll come back. Yeah. Okay, so please feel free to put your email in the Miro board of the, I think where you are doing the breakout. Yeah. So I think we don't have much time left. Maybe I hand over back to Austin to close this.
Yep, thanks Aloysius.
Thank you.
Okay, can everyone see my screen? Testing, testing. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, yes, can hear and can see.
Okay, have to test. Technical test, but very important these days. Okay, so I hope everyone enjoyed the session today. First we talked about Scrum in the Scrum, then happiness metric. Then we moved on to our breakout sessions where we started discussing what we wanted to have for next year, chartering next year's roadmap together with our community. So now we move on to the last section, which is the participant feedback session, right? So due to the extreme lack of time, I'm not gonna force everyone to do a mentee session because we'll definitely overshoot. But what we definitely can all help to do is to fill in the feedback form. So this feedback form is gonna be very simple. It's just a QR code or the tiny URL here, which can also be found in the chat, right? And we really appreciate everyone's feedback on today's session. Basically, what your key takeaways were, what can be done better, what was done well, so that the Scrum Mastery community team can use this feedback and then from here on improve for our next few events or the next events that we have. Which is why I said at the beginning, this session will be recorded for quality purposes. This is part of that. Okay, so I guess that's it for today. Anyone else has anything to add? Joshua, Adrian, or Adrian's not here. Joshua, Celine, Aloysius, Zilin, Jiawei, Shalom, Janice, any of the members have anything they want to say?
Maybe I would like to comment. This is my first time attending the Scrum Mastery. It has been a while since I met Joshua and Adrian. And it's a good experience, frankly speaking, and it's quite innovative. Why I say it's quite innovative compared to other meetup? Basically because you are charting the whole journeys together as a community instead of like a one-way communication. So it's a very innovative, and I really like that. So keep it up, guys. Wonderful.
Yeah, thanks for your really kind words, man. Joshua, you wanted to say something, Joshua?
Just join us.
Yeah, I wanted to say the same thing. Join us. We have a spot for you.
Sure. We'll do that.
Yep, okay, then if not, then I think that's it for today's session. Thank you, everyone. And we hope you have a good evening / morning / day. Whichever time zone you're at, okay?
I'd like to thank all the facilitator, you rocks. Well done, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Wonderful session.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Talk to you next time.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Alberto.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I shall stop recording.
Yeah.